So thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Okay.
Want to say your name?
Don't look right.
Do whatever you want.
Okay. Well, I'm Sharai Sims. I feel like it's easier to look.
Okay.
I'm a graduating senior with my degrees in communication and a minor in women's studies. I'm 23 years old. My emphasis is in persuasion and advocacy.
Which you are really good at.
That I feel like that. Towards the end of this college career, I can see it coming together. I actually just wrote a paper where you're supposed to show off what you've learned at the end of college. And so it's an interdisciplinary paper on ethics. And what more ethical conversations are there than human rights, moral rights, and women's studies? So they just kind of all come together a little.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you think you got out of studying women's studies as a minor?
I think, so women's studies, when I first came to this university and took a class with you, it was my first 201 class.
It was a class.
Still by far, hands down, my favorite class I've ever taken. And I've made a lot of great friends that are just as equally ambitious, if not more. So I'm like, wow, I didn't know I was going to enter into a community of people who want to just foster their gifts and move on. Yep. So I took that women's studies course, and at the time I was a marketing major. And so I was like, I really want to take this course, and I don't really like my accounting class, my micro econ class. So I ended up really falling in love with women's studies and totally reframing my whole college career off of that class.
I didn't realize you weren't already a communication studies major.
I was a minor. So I had been taking classes, and I loved comm. And so then it was the language that you get from your experiences that women's studies gives you, coupled with the meaning making and communication. So now I'm trying to really overanalyze, why do we do the things we do?
Yeah.
So
I love what you say about entering into conversation.
Yes. That is the best metaphor I think I've ever had.
Do you want to share it with
Yes. Okay. So the whole theory in communication is that we've already developed a schema or a set way of thinking as a society. So you don't honestly know when you're coming into these relationship buildings with anybody, when you're talking or, engaging in a system or any type of self-other relationship. You have to really consider what are the different meanings they're making and what is I would say, set standard of society or whatever the organization is or whatever that person's values and ideologies are. They all come into these conversations with a set mind state,
So just recently, you directed, produced, organized the show For Colored Girls, right? Based on the Shanghae piece.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience and what was so transformational for you.
Wow. Okay, so another reason why you should take women's studies, I got the language to, and the theory to really take my experiences and the theory and create activities or just a way that I feel like other women of color, even if they don't want to be a women's studies major or minor, these issues of human rights are never overlooked. And they're never, the personal is always political. So you can never separate them when you're trying to figure out how to navigate all of these systems that you're working in. So women's studies allowed me the support to really create an organization. I wrote a grant and I funded the grant.
Nice.
Yep. Wrote a grant and I funded the grant. It was partial funding. I originally asked for $4,000, but they gave me $15,000.
Which is awesome.
Which is still awesome because writing a grant in college is not something a lot of people do. And I wanted to do that. So my topic at the beginning where I felt like our community needed a need was the absence of Black women's narrative.
Incoming women's studies students or people who might be interested, watch this video. What wisdom, feminist wisdom, from your amazing self would you offer them?
Coming into women's studies, don't be afraid to ask hard questions, because that's where all the learning really happens, is in those nuances. I would also say find joy in what you do, because when you find joy in what you do, you're actually more committed to it. So if you really want to figure out
moonlighting. Go ahead.
If you really want to figure out what makes you happy and passionate, you have to read more things and figure out where you stand in between all of this conversation and all